Hello everyone and welcome to the table. Today we're checking out the Flashback V2 camera. So this is version 2 of Flashback's digital disposable. And so in full disclosure, I was an original backer of the version 1 camera. And so this video, we're going to chat about this new V2, but really for our original purchasers, is it worth the upgrade? Or if you are new to this digital disposable camera category, is the Flashback V2 one of the best in the pack? So let's chat about this camera. And I think I have some tips and tricks that I want to share with you so that you can get the most out of this camera if you've already purchased it and are just looking for more information online. So let's go ahead and check out the Flashback V2. So this one that we have right in front of me, obviously this is the transparent shell version of it, which is actually very striking in appearance in terms of the plastic being see-through. You can see all of the circuit boards on the back. You can see the nice big battery right here, which is actually really cool that we are powered. You can see it's an 18650 battery in there, you know, right inside the camera body. So I do like the look of it. And of course, even that translucent shell is very like 90s, 2000s-ish. Reminds me of those old like Nintendo 64s that were transparent shelled and colored. So I think that's part of that vintage look to it, even though it does, of course, still very much have a modern camera inside. But again, the whole flashback idea, this is a digital disposable. So we have the little crank winder on here. There's no screens, just a little tiny LCD to tell you how many pictures you have left on your camera. So very user-friendly. On-off design. As soon as you wind the camera, it turns on, and we do have a little flash on and off switch right here. And so we'll check that out in just a minute. But this camera is actually very user-friendly in that the app that you can get with it right here is very easy to manage the camera. So let's just go ahead and turn on the camera. You'll see it pops right up on the app. And even if you have more than one, so if you have multiples, they are super responsive in how you can interact with them in the app. And so that's actually a huge improvement because over time since this camera was released, they've been constantly improving it and updating it. So I do like seeing that. But we can see our Flashback V2 right here on the top, and I do like that they have the appropriate icon for which one it is. Again, the way this works is you load a digital roll of film. So you change your film type and it lets you choose the exact vibe you're going for with your pictures. So this one right here is called Flashback Beta. You can see it's kind of like pinkish toned. We have a Flashback Cinefilter, which is kind of like a brownish, greenish tone to it, honestly. We have the Flashback Mono, which is black and white photos, and the Flashback Classic, which we can see it leans more towards like a green palette color. So whichever of those four you prefer, you just hit load and it will load those onto the camera. And the way it works, you're done with the app at this point for the most part. Go out and take some pictures, right? You crank it down and the number 27 shows how many pictures you have left. So as you take pictures, you can see that counter goes down and you can crank it again repeatedly until you are out of pictures, so to speak. I was telling you about the flash, so the flash switch is right there. You switch it to on, and in a few seconds, that red light will pop up right there, which should indicate, so in theory, the flash should fire right now. There we go. Hope you saw that on camera. But again, the flash is great for indoor pictures, of course. And of course, with a super bright xenon flash like this, it does give that vibe that a lot of people are going for, almost that red eye effect that people really crave from like the 90s and the 2000s with the early digital cameras that used to be out there. And I think, again, that's part of the appeal of this particular camera right here. So super easy to use. And then, of course, once your exposures are out, you just reconnect it to the app. It lets you download the pictures. Very user-friendly process. So I think anyone could figure it out fairly quickly, just hands-on. And so for that reason, they don't include a whole lot of information in like a manual with the box, but there are some neat tips and tricks that I wanted to share with everybody who has purchased this camera, and of course show you lots of samples so you can kind of see the picture quality that we're getting here. But again, let's go ahead and come from the idea that we're comparing, again, the original V1 to the V2. Now, the original camera, I believe this was like an 8 megapixel photo camera, whereas our Flashback V2, this is going to be, it's like 12.8 megapixels because in terms of pixel dimension, the photos you're getting, they're 4144 by 3088 pixels. So that's about a 4:3 aspect ratio, about 12.8 megapixels if you're pixel peeping on these things. So the actual pictures are larger than what we're getting on the original. But I will say that whatever sensor they're using in here must have gotten an upgrade as well, because the actual picture quality is much crisper, much cleaner, and much improved over the original Flashback. And so that itself is honestly worth an upgrade. So if you like the actual shape and form factor of this camera, very much worth looking into. And so all of the images that you get on this camera, one of the big improvements we also have for this new variant, I think photography fans will like it, is that it actually does provide you with the raw image as well. And so in the app on your phone, you will get the filtered JPEG files. But if you were to plug this into a USB-C port on another device, it does open up a folder and you can see the raw files. So these are Adobe DNG raw files, and you can save those and then of course edit those to your heart's content if you are a person who has the software to do that. I really like that they included it, because I think a majority of users will probably never even notice the raw files are there, but there's always going to be a subset of the community that really appreciates getting those features. But let me give you tip number one. Tip number one, if you are a user of the DNG, the raw files, make sure that after you unload, or before you unload your roll of pictures to the app, plug in your camera, get the raw files off, because what I've noticed just through usage of the camera is once you unload the pictures from the camera to the phone, those raw files will get deleted off of the internal memory. And so once you plug your camera back into your computer or whatnot, those files will be gone. So again, let me be super clear. If you want those raw files, make sure you plug in the camera to your device and download them before you use the app to get the pictures off the camera, because once that happens, they do get wiped essentially. And I think it does that in preparation for the next roll to be loaded. So what's kind of interesting, the internal memory on this camera, when you plug it into the device, it has about 2 gigs of internal storage, which doesn't sound like a lot, right? But remember, we're only carrying, in theory, 27 photos. So it's perfectly fine for that purpose, but I could see why it kind of gets wiped after every single use. So what that does mean, if you are out in the real world, running and gunning, constantly loading pictures from the camera to the phone, keep in mind you're going to lose a lot of those raw files, because you can't go back home, plug in your device, and expect to see hundreds of raw files on that camera, because there's just not enough space for it. So do keep that in mind. Plan to pause, plug in a USB-C cord, upload those RAWs to your device, phone, computer, whatever, before using the app to unroll your pictures. So that is my advice. Tip number one, didn't see that written down anywhere, but just some useful advice for our raw picture users. And I found here's another tip, another trick, and I don't know if this was meant to even be out there, but I found this and I'm going to share it with you. So I have some really interesting information. So one thing I was trying to figure out was, I realized I lost some of those raw files, and how could I get those back? So I plugged this camera into a Windows computer and I loaded up the file software. It's called Recover. And what Recover does is it looks on extended drives like this camera and it tries to recover deleted files, right? And so I found out something really nifty. So not only could you recover those deleted DNG files if not too much time has passed and you haven't overwritten them yet, but what I also found, beyond those 4 included filters, this camera actually takes base JPEG files. So what I mean by that is it takes JPEG files that are, I don't want to call them raw JPEGs, but they are JPEG files with no filter attached. So it takes unfiltered JPEGs and stores them on the camera before the app adds the filter. So if you are someone who, like me, honestly, I would love to just see what this camera is capable of, bone stock, no filters. That is one sneaky roundabout way to actually get just pure photos off of this camera, pure JPEGs with no filters applied. And so one thing that I really noticed is the filters that are put into the app on, with this camera, they have that vibe to it, the color, they kind of add some fake blur to it. So I'll of course throw up some images and you can see this comparison where the filtered photos that the app makes, It kind of adds a little bit of motion blur to the picture. You know, it's part of the theme, I guess, right? But comparing it to just the raw JPEG file, and I say raw, but you know, basic unfiltered JPEG file, you can see that the actual photos this camera takes are actually really high quality for what it is, right? So these are 13 megapixel pictures, and it does a really good job in terms of color and accuracy. I think it's great as a standalone with, you know, no filtered picture thing. So again, the only way to get those basic unfiltered JPEGs is if you plug it into a Windows computer, you run the file recovery software, and then you download those pictures off the camera. Really roundabout. So the reason why I'm even sharing this with you, and I hope that Flashback watches this, if they were able to in the app just add a way to get unfiltered photos by default, that would be awesome. Because again, I dig it. I dig the vibes you're going for with the themes, but this camera is capable of really good photos without any without any filters at all. And I think it would have a lot more use case if there was just a fifth option in there: unfiltered photos. Give it to me straight. Give it to me no color. Just show me what the camera can do. That's my suggestion. So again, I'll link to the software if it's still available. So very, very cool. But beyond that, only other tips and tricks I have for you, again, this viewfinder right here is not entirely representative of the wide angle that these pictures take. So if you are looking through this viewfinder and say you're taking a group photo, if you have everyone right at the edges of the viewfinder, keep in mind, everyone will definitely be in the shot because it shoots much wider than what you see in the viewfinder. So that's my tip here. The viewfinder is a good general gauge. Yeah, you're pointing the camera in the right direction, but your actual photos are a much wider angle. So do keep that in mind. And also one kind of, I don't know if this is a tip or not, but the camera hump right here to hold on to is very close to the lens, so your fingers might end up being in some of the pictures. So I learned as a roundabout to work through this is to grip it kind of like a phone, whereas I'm holding it in this way and pressing the button, so that way my fingers never get in the way of the lens, because I have too many of my pictures where you can see my fat digits coming in on the right hand side, and it's not a very good look, right? So just keep that in mind. So again, camera hold on this camera works. I mean, phone hold on this camera works perfectly fine. And just as an addendum to this, I do want to mention, of course, the Flashback itself here costs 130 something dollars probably at this point. And so a lot of you out there are already saying, it's like, well, for that price, I could get camera XYZ. And you're totally right. You obviously could. You could buy a lot of cameras that have better picture quality than the Flashback for that price. But with the Flashback here, we have to remember this is a category of, again, digital disposable. Again, it's meant to evoke that feeling of a disposable camera, right? So that's what makes this unique in the category. So again, if you really want to go to the used camera market, you can get awesome cameras. You can find like an older Olympus or a Panasonic, and they're going to take awesome photos, and you might even be able to get it for cheaper than the Flashback. You know, even older Canons you can get for a fraction of the price, I'm sure, and they will all take awesome pictures, right? But with the Flashback, you're definitely going to be going for the vibe. That's why you're here, I imagine most of you. You're looking at this camera because you want information on, is this the best digital disposable? So that's really the question here. But if you have any, this is just a real basic overview of the camera here. Definitely, in my opinion, worth the upgrade from the V1 to the V2. But if you have any questions or comments, please do drop those below. I would love to hear your feedback on this camera. Give me your thoughts. What do you think? Hope you all have a great day out there and go take some pictures. See you later.